In my kingdom, the strength of your magic decides everything, and mine. Mine was the weakest they'd ever seen. I'm Cale Thorne, a prince, the wrong kind, the bastard kind. Royal blood, they said, gone thin and common. F rank, barely above an ordinary man. Lord Commander Draven. 3 wars, 20 years of loyal service. And every afternoon, his job was to break me in front of an audience. They came to watch, silk and jewels and laughter, betting on how badly I'd bleed. And among them, my half-brother, Aldrich, the legitimate son, golden, untouched, perfect. He didn't laugh. He just let the corner of his mouth twitch when Draven's blade found my ribs. Somehow that was worse. Then I saw it in Draven's eyes. The exact moment this stopped being training and became something final. To him, I wasn't royal blood. I was a stain to be scrubbed away. His next strike came for my throat, with everything he had. The blade was a finger's width from my throat when something inside me finally woke up. The world slowed to glass. And my pathetic spark of power, F rank, useless, barely enough to light a candle, answered, just enough. The sword whispered past my cheek. Interesting, Draven said. The boy has survival instinct after all. I wasn't angry at Draven. Killing the unwanted is just politics. I was angry at me for being exactly what they all expected. Come on then, I said. Let's finish this properly, Lord Commander. No more playing. And for the first time all day, my hand didn't shake. The manuals say focus your power. Sword arm for strength, legs for speed. I'd always failed at that. So I stopped following the manual. I let it spread, thin, everywhere. Not strong, just enough. And this time, I wasn't where he wanted me to be. The legendary Lord Commander, 3 wars, a chest of medals, doubled over, wheezing, beaten by a bastard with F-rank blood. I could have killed him. I knew exactly how. Instead, I stepped back. Perhaps there's hope for you yet, boy, he said. Adequate progress. Dismissed. Adequate. From Draven, that was practically a song of praise. It meant he'd stop trying to kill me. For now, nobody beats a legend and walks away unchanged. Not the legend, not the crowd, and not me. The nobles filed out, recalculating, and then he crossed the bloodied sand towards me. That was well done, Aldrich said. I didn't think you had it in you. An olive branch, and underneath it, our father's eyes. King Torin ruled 20 years on ruthlessness, and Aldrich learned every lesson at his knee. His A-rank power brushed against mine like a bonfire beside a candle. I shook his hand anyway. May the best prince win. He walked away with perfect princely posture, and as I stood there bleeding, something in a high window caught my eye. Princess Lyanna, the most beautiful girl in the kingdom, and she'd watched the whole thing. She raised one hand, not mockery like the others, not pity like the servants, just acknowledgement. Then she was gone. That night I lay in my narrow bed, cataloging bruises the color of storm clouds, and I made the decision that would change everything. I was tired of being weak, tired of being grateful for scraps. The academy was coming, and everyone expected me to fail. They would be disappointed. I'd stop being the bastard prince and become something they couldn't ignore. Something dangerous. Outside, the storm gathered over the castle, like it had for 3 centuries. The same lightning that crowned every Thorn King. I felt nothing but bruises and resolve. But soon, I promised myself, I would learn to call that lightning my own. They called me the bastard prince. F-rank. Worthless. For 16 years I believed them. Then a letter changed everything. It came on the night my mother died. No title, just my name, in handwriting my bones remembered. Meet me, come alone. She died when I was 3. I had only fragments, jasmine, a lullaby, warm hands braiding my hair, and then nothing. All day the words burned in me. Truth or trap, I had to know. The not knowing would kill me slower than any blade. So as the sun went down, I made my choice. I slipped out of the castle and walked into Widow's Wood, where they say wronged spirits wait. An owl called 3 times, like a warning. The cold deepened, the trees felt awake, and there it was. An old shrine of stand-in stones, older than the kingdom itself. The air was heavy, charged. Even my weak awakening could feel it, as if the stones remembered a wilder magic. A hooded figure waited by the altar. She lowered her hood, and my whole world tilted. Her face, her eyes, the voice that once sang me to sleep. Mother, hello, my darling boy. She was alive. She had faked her own death to keep me safe. Do you know what this place truly is? She asked. A temple to the void. She knelt and traced a symbol, and the ancient stone answered. Your father's blood is storm, but mine is older. We are void-touched. Your power does not climb one rank at a time. It erupts. In a true crisis, it can skip ranks entirely. She pressed a pendant into my hands, black crystal, veined with silver light. The moment I touched it, I felt something vast and patient. You are being sent to the academy, she warned. Not to learn, to be removed, quietly. Before your brother takes the throne. The weakness everyone sees is not failure. It is a storm gathering in silence. This is the last time I can reach you. From here you walk alone. But when the world demands more than you think you can give, reach for the power in your blood. You are what the old prophecies named, a shattered crown, a ruler who breaks every rule of power. Then she was gone, fading into the dark between the trees. I walked home with the pendant beating against my chest like a second heart. For the first time, I was not afraid of what was coming. They had no idea what they were about to unleash. They called it the Royal Academy of Valdris, the finest school for awakeners in the world, and I did not belong there. I came with 1 bag and an F rank no one respected. The towers crackled with lightning. I felt smaller with every step. My uncle, Sir Marcus, rode beside me without a word of warmth. You are here by royal decree, he said, not merit. Everywhere, students played with magic like it was nothing, fire in their fingers, books floating on the wind. I had none of it. The gates rose 20 feet of bronze, guarded by stone griffins with ruby eyes that seemed to watch me. I felt the school's wards brush my mind, weighing me, cataloging the weakest awakening they had ever recorded. Then he arrived, Lord Garrett Ashford, senior prefect, B rank, everything I was not, and he knew it. He bowed to me, perfectly correct and somehow mocking. I'm sure you'll find your time here, educational. He walked me through gardens that defied nature, roses that changed color, vines in perfect lines, beauty I could not afford. In the yards, students sparred with awakened steel, power rippling the air. My basic training looked like a child's game. He led me through the busiest courtyards on purpose, so everyone could see. That's him, the bastard prince. F rank. My home was the outer tower. Old cold stone, far from everything that mattered. Where they put the ones they expected to fail. Narrow stairs, a dim corridor, 1 oil lamp. Room 12. The kind of place no one bothered to improve. A bare room. A narrow bed, a creaking desk. one window over the training yards I would never join. My schedule waited on cheap parchment, foundation courses only. Nothing that could make me strong. They had already decided. I sat on the bed and let the weight of it settle. Alone again, exactly where they wanted me. Then someone knocked. A girl my age, arms full of books, a worn uniform, and the most honest eyes I had ever seen. "You must be the prince everyone's talking about," she said. "Elena Marsh, scholarship, 3rd year, no bowing, no games." She told me the truth no one else would. Half the school was betting on how fast I'd fail. She just didn't care about my name. She offered a deal. She would teach me. I would work harder than I ever had. I shook her hand. The most honest thing I'd done in years. At the door she paused. "Everyone deserves one person who believes they can succeed," she said. "Maybe especially you." That night I studied things 10-year-olds here had already mastered. The gap was a canyon, but it was not impossible. I stood at a window and made a promise. I would not be broken by this place, even if I had to forge my worth out of spite. The sun set gold and crimson over the Academy of Storms. They thought they had me figured out. They were about to learn they were wrong. The first time someone tried to kill me, it was a Tuesday. 3 weeks into the academy, alone in the yards before dawn. I trained before sunrise so no one could watch me fail. 200 repetitions of forms a child could do in his sleep. Then I heard it, steel sliding from a scabbard behind me. That sound saved my life. I threw myself sideways. The blade passed a hair from my throat and buried itself where my spine had been. "If you're going to kill me," I told him, "at least try to be professional about it." He wore Castle Guard colors, but he moved like a street brawler. "Nothing personal, Prince Lin," he said. "Just business." He expected the useless bastard to fold. Instead, I put 3 inches of wood through his shoulder and a knee where it hurt most. I pressed my blade to his throat and demanded a name. He bit down on a poison tooth instead. Dead in 30 seconds, secrets and all. Someone had paid to have me killed. Not court games, real. It meant I finally mattered enough to murder. "Nicely done," a voice said. An old groundskeeper, thin as driftwood, watching from the dark. He moved like smoke. Too smooth, too controlled. Every instinct I had screamed that the harmless old man was a lie. "Master Vex," he said. "I tend the herb gardens," but his eyes held depths no servant should own. He read the body like a page. Hired blade, poison tooth, a patient enemy. "This won't be the last attempt," he said. "You know that. The next one will be better," he warned. "You'll need to be stronger. Orders of magnitude stronger. Luck runs out," he said, "but skill can be taught to those willing to pay the price." The old wine cellar beneath the North Tower. Midnight. Come alone and come prepared to be remade. Then he was gone. The next night I went down into the old wine cellar. Dust, dead vintages, one guttering torch. Vex was waiting, but not the stooped servant. He stood straight, 2 real swords at his hips. The mask was gone. He'd built a training hall in the forgotten dark. "Punctual," he said. "First test passed. Show me your awakening," he ordered. "All of it." I let my pale, stuttering F-rank light flicker. Pathetic, even to me. Then something vast brushed against my power. An ocean against a puddle. For an instant I felt how small I was. "What are you?" I whispered. "Your channels are weak," he said. "But the foundation is solid, and the power is dammed up behind it. Your teacher, if you'll pay the price." What followed was the worst training of my life. He drove me past every limit, then demanded more. And under the pain, I felt myself sharpen. "You don't lose because you're weak," he said. "You lose because you've decided you deserve to. That ends now. Again. Fight like you can win." By day I was nothing. I sat in the back, let my power sputter and die on command, and let the noble sons laugh. The mask had kept me alive this long. One of them shouldered me into the wall on the way out. I let him. A bruise was cheaper than letting them see what I'd become. But at night I stopped pretending. Down the worn steps into the torchlit dark, I let the meek boy fall away. "Again," Vex said. I lunged with the wooden sword, sweat flying, and it was never good enough. Again. I stumbled, the blade wobbling out of line. Months of this, and my body still betrayed me at the worst moment. Vex showed me how it should look. No wasted motion, pure economy. Like water deciding where the stone would break. I reached for my awakening, and it answered the way it always had. A thin, stuttering light guttering over my arm. My channels screamed. I pushed anyway. I reset my stance and raised the sword again. Quitting was a luxury for people who had somewhere else to be. I drilled until the torch burned low, past exhaustion, into that empty place where thinking stops. And something began to shift. "Stop fighting it," Vex said. So I closed my eyes and let go. No technique, no effort, just listening. Then my body moved on its own. One motion, start to finish, flawless. For the first time the sword felt like part of my arm instead of a stick I was arguing with. And the dam broke. Light poured out of me, silver and violet, flooding my hands, my arms, the whole cellar. Not a flicker, a flood. I had crossed the line they swore I'd never reach. Even Vex went still. Something moved behind his eyes that I'd never seen there. Interest, maybe approval. I stared at my own hands, wrapped in dancing light, and barely knew them. The power was mine. It had always been mine. The glow settled into something steady. I stood straighter. I breathed. I was stronger than I'd been an hour ago, and the change wasn't going back. No longer F rank. The bottom of the ladder finally behind me. One rung. It felt like the whole world. She found me in the library a few days later. Princess Liana, who had no reason to speak to a bastard, sitting down across from me like it was the most natural thing in the world. Before I could stop her, she pressed a hand to my chest, her awakening reaching into mine. Her eyes went wide. "You're not what they say you are," she whispered. She looked at me then, really looked, and I forgot how to keep my face blank. No one had looked at me like that in my life. So I told her the truth, the assassins, the poison tooth, that somewhere a person with golden patience wanted me dead. The words came out flat, like reading a stranger's story. Anger crossed her face. Not for herself, for me. I didn't know what to do with that. "Show me," she said, leaning in, eyes bright. "Show me the real one." Every instinct told me to refuse. Those instincts had kept me alive. I let the light come anyway. Silver violet, dancing free between my fingers, no longer hidden. Her face lit with it, and she laughed, delighted. We sat there in the glow, the two of us. And for the first time since my mother died, someone believed in me. It was a dangerous thing to let myself want. They came to watch me fail. Nobles from across the kingdom, packed into the old amphitheater in silk and jewels, all to see one advancement test. Mine. I stood in the center of the marble circle, alone, while the whole court looked down. I'd spent my life being unseen. This was the opposite, and it was worse. 10-1 he fails, someone laughed. 5 gold says he doesn't last the hour. They wagered on me like I was a lame horse. High up, my brother Aldrich watched, that careful court smile, hiding whatever he actually wanted to happen down here. And Liana, leaning forward, hoping, the only face in that crowd that wasn't waiting for me to break. The examiner started with theory, question after question, meant to expose the uneducated bastard. I answered everyone evenly, and watched his eyebrow climb. Let them whisper. I'd been underestimated my whole life. Their doubt was almost comfortable, like an old coat. Then the physical trial. I rolled my shoulders, set my feet, and decided they could think whatever they liked after. First the endurance stance. Hold it, they said, and I held it past the point my legs caught fire, sweat dripping black onto white marble. The examiner watched, waiting for me to fold. I didn't. His professional mask cracked just slightly. Then combat. They put an instructor in front of me with a real blade. Months in Vex's cellar answered for me. Steel met steel, and I gave no ground. I caught his wrist on the turn, redirected his weight, and his sword rang on the stones. Disarmed. The crowd's laughter died in their throats. Last, the awakening. I raised my hand and let it come. Silver violet light, steady and bright. No flicker, no stutter. Nothing like the F rank they'd written me off as. I held it there, fully mine, and the marble glowed with it. This was the part I'd hidden longest. Now I showed them all of it. I watched the mockery drain out of 1,000 faces and curdle into something else. Shock, recalculation, fear even. The examiner raised his hand and made it official before the whole court. Confirmed. The bastard was exactly what he claimed. I stood in the middle of that arena, breathing hard, and the old runes under the marble seemed to hum in answer. Validated, out loud, in front of everyone. Aldrich's smile slipped, just for a heartbeat. He'd come to watch a failure. He left knowing I was a problem. Liana was on her feet, that proud, fierce grin lighting her whole face. I let myself enjoy it for exactly one breath. Around her the powerful men leaned together, recalculating, the way they do when a piece they'd ignored turns out to matter. Some of them already hated me for it. You can feel that kind of attention land cold like a draft from an open door. Because I understood what I'd just done. I'd traded invisibility for proof, and proof in this court is the thing that gets you killed. I walked out with my head up anyway. Let them see that too. Behind me, the ancient stones glowed and went quiet, like something old had noticed me. I told myself it was the sunlight. I didn't believe it.